It's so back.
Yeah, Backaroo, the biggest.
It was gone for a day.
Oh, yeah. Not even a full
TikTok-
day. Not even a full 24 hours.
Not even a full 24. It was like 10, maybe 12 hours, I felt like. Might have been longer, but I wasn't looking for it all the time. It was gone long enough for me to remove TikTok from my home screen.
Oh, wow.
And then I didn't uninstall it like Rain did, but I'm just like, I know it's going to be back.
Yeah, I just left it. Didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, yeah, it is gone today.
I opened it once while I was like, I might have been like using the bathroom or something. Because that's peak TikTok time.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's banned. So I just deleted it from my home screen and then never thought about it again. And then I opened Twitter and saw that it was back.
Yeah, my friend Julia sent me a TikTok. I was like, I can't watch that. I was like, wait a minute. The alert changed.
Apparently, if you were using it after like the quote unquote ban went through, it didn't like update the app.
Yeah.
So you could still use it post time and people were live tweeting what they were seeing. I'm like, wow, we are really living in a moment.
Amazing. A peek into the other side, how the other side lives.
$5 for every TikTok you want to hear about. The money I could have made. I did see a pretty interesting idea about if TikTok had stayed banned, because it's only banned in the US and in like places where nothing else is allowed anyways.
Yeah.
But for someone, if you're like a big content creator on TikTok, you could hire somebody in the UK or Canada or wherever that it's allowed to like run your TikTok.
You could do that.
Right? They would be under your employer or whatever, and you would send them the TikToks you make. They would upload them and basically manage your account. And I'm like, wow, that's like pretty smart actually if you had managed to like do it. Obviously it's irrelevant now, but
yeah, a whole new economy of jobs.
I know that could have been like, if you were like the first person to like do that and like manage a couple people, that could be pretty smart because it's like it's very little effort on your end.
Yeah, you upload, maybe respond to comments.
Right, and you just either pretend. I guess you probably wouldn't pretend to be him because they'd probably say like, "Hey, my account's being managed by this person," but you could, I guess.
Yeah.
I suppose. But yeah, that was like, I thought it was a pretty good idea. However, now I'm seeing that the TikTok ban was just like a marketing ploy, basically.
The stupidest marketing ploy. I see it wasn't worth it for TikTok because they couldn't even commit for the full 24 hours.
I know. For real. Well, that's because I didn't think they thought that everybody would flock to Red Note so quickly.
Yeah.
Like the amount of like users that app, Instagram, and probably a few others gained, ridiculous.
The actual Chinese app.
Right. The little one that's like actually Chinese controlled and everything. It's funny though. Welcome everybody to episode 149 of You're Ridiculous.
Woo!
My name is Luke. One of your hosts is always with me, your other host, Wolf.
That's me.
You're here. You're alive.
As always.
I see you survived the California wildfires.
That's right, I always do.
Unscathed. The fire didn't bear come knocking on your doorstep.
No, not this time. Or I always find out about these fires by people not in California. They're like, one of you guys text me like, "Oh, are you safe from the fire?" I'm like, "What fire?"
I've done it like 3 times now because California's always on fire. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
The first 2 times, my mother had told me, and I'm like, "You should check on Wolf." I'm like, "Why?" I'm like, "I want to make sure that they're okay from the wildfire." I'm like, "What wildfire?" And then this one I saw because I saw them tweeting about it.
Yeah.
Because it was like inside like LA and all that stuff.
Central area.
Yeah. And so like more people were affected that the media was actually covering it this time. I'm like, wow, okay, I guess I better check. And then you're like, what fire? I'm like, all right, you moved.
Left just in time, I guess.
It was the perfect scam. You leave, you could smell the wildfire coming.
I knew. I'm a prophet after all.
You are indeed. Well, let's get right into this week's topic. Last week, we talked about Squid Game 2.
That's right.
I rewatched the first couple episodes, like 5 episodes of season 1.
Oh, wow.
Just to, like, on in the background, you know?
Yeah.
Just for comparison. 1, the sub is still so much better.
Yep.
And I was curious because, like, if the quality had just dropped of the dub, or if it was just, like, always bad. It was always bad. The English one was always bad, which is fine because it's a Korean.
Yeah.
So
watch it in its source language or don't.
Exactly.
Watch it at all.
Exactly. Or just be okay that it sucks.
Yeah.
But then I got to the marbles episode and I'm like, nope, I'm done.
Emotional impact gone.
I'm done. But we're not here to talk about Squid Games at all. If you want to hear us ramble about that for an hour almost.
Yeah.
Go watch last week's episode.
Last week's.
Shush. I've had enough of you. This week, though, Wolf is talking about Closer the Distance.
Yeah.
Keen viewers of the show might remember that we had talked about this at some point.
For the Game Awards.
Game Awards. I couldn't remember if it was Game Awards or the things we were excited about for this year.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. I'm like, I know it's one, they're like closely related, but yeah, we saw it on the Game Awards, and this is one of the things that we were both excited about.
Yeah, it was nominated for Best Debut Indie Game, I think. And I think it won that category.
I think it did, yeah. And then I think that's what caught our eye.
Yeah. You know what? I see why it won.
All right, well, let's get ready to. Give us a quick rundown of what it is for those that are unaware.
Closer the Distance is a game about grief. It's a slice of life management simulation where you are in this town called Yesterby that was hopelessly dependent on one lady, and she died very suddenly.
Oh, so it's just like when the grandfather died in Stardew.
Yeah.
Everything went to shambles.
Yeah. But instead of controlling one farmer, fixing everything, you get to bounce around, I think, a total of 4 or 5 characters. Ooh. But then there's like 9 characters total you can like check in on, like see into their heads, see what they're feeling, see what they want, and try to, I guess, fulfill what they want through the characters you can control.
Mm-hmm. And
it's just, you start with controlling Connie. She's like the main person because she was the lady's sister.
Mm.
It's basically everyone is dealing with the grief differently, and it's an exploration of that. Some people, grief makes them the total bitch. Other people, it makes them shut down completely. For the main character, Connie, she goes completely delusional.
Mm.
The game at first kind of presents it as like, oh, it's her ghost, but then you realize very quickly it's not her ghost at all because it doesn't know the things her ghost would know if it was actually a ghost. It's limited by the information, whatever POV character you're controlling at the time is.
Mm. Interesting.
And it seems the point overall is about them needing to like let go of the ghost.
Yeah. I'm trying to. There's something. That description reminds me of something, but I can't remember what it is.
Very specific.
Well, I know. That's not at all helpful or insightful, but it reminds me of something. But it feels familiar, is what I'm saying.
It'll come to
you. Which might be comforting while playing.
Yeah.
If that's your sort of vibe.
Yeah.
So tell us about it. How was your experience? Was it an experience?
It was an experience. It was a good experience. It started a bit slow. Maybe that's just my ADHD brain. But then I was hooked. Then I was into it, and I couldn't stop playing.
Oh, wow.
I think there's 15 days total. Or maybe like 13 or 14 days total. Because I got all the memories. Every night, at the end of the day, you get to see a special memory related to the girl, Angie, a.k.a. Angela.
Yep.
Because she was the heart of this, like, dying ghost town, but not quite a ghost town. It's like they bought it because it was a ghost town, and they're trying to make it not a ghost town over a couple generations, and they're kind of failing at it. They like lost their steam for it. Now the kids they birthed into this community don't really want to stay either. Because it's still nothing.
Right.
And now that Angie is gone, it's kind of culminating into like, well, now's the time we have to make something happen. You've got Zek. He's one of the controllers you can control. That was her boyfriend. He
Angie's
also,
or Connie's?
Oh, Angie's.
Angie's
boyfriend. He also lost his mom to this town, Youre, even though it's spelled with a C.
Wow,
maybe it's British.
quite
they do
the
have British
names.
accents.
These are names. Zach and Connie and Angie. I like that it's Zach and not like Zach or anything.
Yeah, I was like, am I saying this wrong? No, it's Zach. They said it as Zach.
It's even, I see it. It's one of the pictures. You can see his name is like, it brings up this like profile. It's Zek. Z-E-K or Z-E-K.
What a name.
I know, right?
He wants to run away to the city, so he's one of the people, one of the main people you're trying to help, like, achieve their goals. Basically, the way it works is it's like basically 3 arcs. First arc is like setting up for the funeral. Second arc is like getting through the funeral, and then third arc is like getting past, like moving on. Because in that third arc is when a lot of people, they like break that connection between them and Angie's quote unquote ghost. But no, you're not really a ghost. Mm-hmm. But they're like living as her because she's gone.
Okay.
like what would Angie do? I should do this because Angie would want me to do this, etc., etc.
WWAG or AJ. Yeah. What would Andy? AD. What would Andy do? I kept getting confused with what would Jesus do, and I had to throw a J in there. Apparently,
couldn't release the J.
I know. I was hooked on it.
Oh man. And of course, I texted you at 3 a.m. as I was plowing through the game.
So I had messaged you. Yeah, you was like super early, and you're like, I'm getting through it, and then I'm trying to find the actual message because. Oh yeah, you're like, haven't started yet, but I'm gonna play tonight, and then like later on, this was 5 a.m. I'm gonna blow this fucking game up with my mind. And then at 6 a.m., you wrote no in all caps. I had to force close the game. This is unacceptable. And I'm like, wait. And so obviously, and again, this is 5 a.m., 6 a.m. my time. So this was 2 and 3 a.m. your time.
Yep.
So clearly you'd been playing a while.
Yep.
And you said this was the end, right?
Pretty much.
Right.
Okay. It was like with Dredge, I was like, at the end, I was like, well, I'm not happy with the way this is going. So I quit. And started
Right. That's one of my favorite stories. You're literally at the end of Dredge and you just restarted.
For some little thing that changed nothing.
For literally nothing. You're like, well, I can't miss out on that. And it ended up being like quite literally nothing. And so I had messaged you and you're like, or I had responded. And I'm just like, wait, what? What happened? And you're like, nah, you got to wait till we record. I'm like, I had thought you were like, something happened within the game that was like not okay. To like talk about it, or like you didn't want to advertise it, right? Like it could have been anything, but it's so that's what I had thought. So I'm very curious to find out what it is.
So one of the main missions, one of the main arcs is like they're trying to build the boat lodge, and that's going to be like their thing that revives their community and turns it into a tourist spot, basically. I was almost done with it. I like kind of fucked up a bit because I was like, I couldn't figure out how to manage the timer to get the characters to do things at the right times. And so we were like on like the cutting edge of like the deadline to finish the stupid boat lodge, and they were literally painting the fucking walls. And then the dad of what's her name, River, she's the one managing the project. That's the daughter, his daughter. He comes in, he's like, okay, boat lodge, it failed. We didn't finish it. And I'm like, no, we're right there. And he's like, we're going to give a big announcement to the town tomorrow that we're canceling it. We're not doing the boat lodge. It's like, I was right there. There was like this much of the progress bar left. And they were done. I was like, okay, fine. I'll live with that. I fucked it up.
Oh, so it was like a time limit thing.
Yes, but the time limits aren't clear. They're because in real life the time limits aren't clear.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. So you did leave it or no?
I left it at that point. Okay. Then something else happened.
Okay.
Building back to Zach, because his thing is he wants to leave the city. And I was like, okay, right. I didn't finish the boat lodge, which means he didn't get money to leave the city. And I'm like, it feels like I'm coming up on the end of the game. So I go to his dad to ask for money to move to the city. I'm like, okay, he'll just give me the money. Maybe he's got savings or something. No. He took the dead mom's car, which she like highly valued. That's why they kept it of all things. It's like her memento. It was like the most important thing to her. And he fucking sold it.
Oh, no.
And at that point, I could not let that continue. At that point, then he got paid for the boat lodge anyways, which means I really didn't need to do that.
So where are you now?
That was on day 13.
Okay.
I rewinded back to day 10. Or maybe in day 9.
Okay.
To, fix all that. And I also managed to fix a couple other things. Because there's another side plot with, like, Gail. She was, like, the person's, Angie's doctor, but also best friend. Because, it's a tiny, small town.
Sure.
Not best friend, but close friends.
Yeah.
And she's, like, going through personal issues with her girlfriend. I guess it's a girlfriend. I don't think they're married yet.
Okay.
And, like, because, yesterday's dying. She's like, well, it's like managing spending enough time with her like husband, and then not her husband, her wife, girlfriend, whatever she is, but then also trying to like because she feels like she owes a debt to Angie's family, because she feels guilty because she feels like she caused like Angie's death because they had an argument the day that Angie left, and then like she like stormed off, ride her bike, clear her head, and she got hit by a car and died, and so she blames herself, and so she's putting a lot into helping the family, which means she's neglecting her own quote-unquote family. And in the original playthrough, the girlfriend and her like son from her previous relationship, they're like, okay, we're gonna go to the city for a bit and chill, leave, take a break. And I'm like, oh damn, I fucked up that relationship. But I think I saved it this time because now when I got the cutscene where she's like, oh, we're gonna leave, she instead went, I really appreciate you and I love you and I'm really happy here. I'm like, yeah, now it's working out.
So she ended up staying.
Yeah.
Nice. How easy is it to rewind days? Did you have to go through like previous save files, or are there like each day is a save thing?
Each day is a save. I learned after I like force quit the game and went back in to see just where it would put me. There is a rewind function. Basically, it deletes everything you did back to the day you rewind.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
Clearly, they understood that people would want to redo things, which is pretty funny.
I was almost robbed of my perfect happy ending. Clearly, I have to min-max the grieving process. And I'm learning a lot about this, and you guys are not allowed to die. No one of importance is allowed.
One of the like screenshots of the game is like Zach and his profile, and it just says Zach desolate.
He's usually desolate.
So, how much... We talked about this before with Supermarket Simulator. How much game is actually going on? Are you like full on controlling these people? Or is it like sort of, I guess the closest comparison I can think of right now is, or is it like a dating sim basically where you just like click responses and everything?
It's very game. It's very set up like The Sims.
Okay.
And that they will go off and do their own things, but and sometimes they will and they're called like wishes, and they're basically your quests, each individual character's quests.
Yeah.
And they will sometimes go off and do them on their own or try to do the steps that'll get them there, but you usually have to go in and control them and make them do it because, or else they'll just sit there and be depressed.
Naturally.
Yeah.
How did the art style sit with you?
I like it. It's a little awkward at times.
It's low poly until you get to the character like portraits, and then it's like sort of like hand drawn art, but like the rest of it is like very low poly.
Yeah, it was a trick.
Which is a little, I guess that's becoming a lot more common.
Yeah.
Just because it's like very easy to do that.
Yeah, because a lot of the effects are also like clearly hand drawn too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like the fire and the smoke and certain like textures on the ground. Oh my god. When I was fucking up the Zeke's and his dad's quest line, I thought the guy killed himself because I went down to like the church graveyard area and there was just red everywhere. And it was just the texture they were using for like the fallen leaves.
Oh no.
It looked like someone died brutally.
It just like slit their throat and bled out.
Yeah, I'm like looking for a body. I'm like, what the fuck happened?
Oh my god. Oh no. Interesting. So you did finish the game.
Yes.
How was the ending total?
I guess it was an okay ending. It's like a non-ending because like the moral of the story is that life goes on.
Right. It's not the, I mean the entirety of the game is not the like basis that everything is going to be super happy and everything is going to work out. It's just that like I think it's more that bad things will happen and you need to be okay with that.
Yeah. Make it work. Keep
and
moving.
keep moving. Yeah, keep moving. Exactly.
Don't be afraid of change. That was the other core message.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. How do you think it did conveying those sort of things?
I think it did it pretty well. I mean, I got it. I didn't need to. No one ever. There was no like speech about how this is this and this and that. You just like that's just what
Yeah.
I figured out. Maybe
They
that's not the
didn't.
theme of the game, but that's the vibe I got.
Sure, they didn't spoon feed it to you.
No.
So I think that it's definitely better when you're left to try and figure out the messages of the game rather than them spoon feeding it to you.
Yeah.
But it is interesting because even though we're talking about it and we've obviously revealed spoilers, that somebody else could sit down and play this game, or even I could sit down and play this game and get my own sort of message out of it.
Yeah, you could.
Which I think is really cool. I like those style of games. And I think they do pretty well.
Definitely why I won game, or at least indie game of the year.
Sure, yeah. All the reviews are really positive too.
Yeah.
How would you rate this game on a 1 to 10?
I think I give it like a solid 10 out of 10. This was a really good game.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were gonna go there.
I was hooked. I haven't lost anyone, so of course I don't fully get it on an emotional level.
Mm.
But you know what? I get it. I get what the characters are feeling. I get why they're acting a certain way. Like Zek, if you bring up the fact that Angie's dead, he becomes an asshole. But otherwise, I'm like, oh yeah, of course. He's not happy about that.
Yeah.
He was especially very dependent on her.
Did they have was it all voice acted or?
Yes.
Nice. How was that?
Oh, it's nice. The voice actors are good. A little stilted, but maybe that's just like a difference in British and American speaking patterns.
Oh yeah. It could be. Right, I forgot it's all British actors. Interesting.
Sometimes if you slacked even a little bit, it would get a bit overwhelming because then you'd have overlapping dialogues and scenes because everyone is just going about their lives and you're just bouncing between them.
Did you got to choose who you wanted to be at all times, or was it like a phase by phase type thing?
Sort of phase by phase. Like you start with just Connie, the sister, then you get Zek, the boyfriend, and then you get Gale, the doctor, then you get Zek, and then like halfway through like the second arc, you get River, and then and then there's this like other guy who like he doesn't know anyone, he doesn't know Angie, he's just like a guy who he's a musician who just happened to be passing through looking for inspiration, and he comes up on this town, sees they're kind of desolate, and decides to help, and then you get to control him too.
What a guy.
Indeed.
What a homie.
He's chill. Oh yeah, he found Angie's camera. She was a photographer.
Nice.
And then at least I think the moral of his was convincing Connie that she should take the camera. She thinks she shouldn't have it. Because Connie's thing is like of course her delusion thing, like, oh, Angie's not really gone. I've got her ghost haunting me, chilling.
Mm-hmm.
But she also keeps saying like everyone else around her is lost and now she has to help them. She has to be the new Angie. When really she needs to like, I don't know, take a moment and feel for herself for a second. She deserves to have a nice thing related to Angie.
Nice. It sounds like a nice little game.
Yeah, it was nice. It was great.
I mean, it has to be pretty good to get a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I did get a 10 out of 10.
Now, it was pretty short, right?
Yeah, about 8 hours.
About 8 hours.
I guess I'll probably get another 2 in there since I restarted, partially.
Sure.
I rewound.
Yeah. Now, here's the other thing. It was a great game, but it was 8 hours and it was $20. Do you think it's worth that?
I think it was. It was an enriching experience. And, I did kind of play it kind of fast. And it's replayable.
Sure. Right. We obviously were on a slight time crunch just with recording. So you could be a bit longer if you really sat down with it. But how is it replayable?
Well, so I've gone through and I've tried to go and do things the perfect way possible, make everyone happy as possible, because that's what I do.
Sure.
But you can also just like play it normally. You can intentionally fuck everything up and make everything horrible.
You could just ruin everything.
And it also just looks like there's just like a lot of small things where like you haven't done anything good or bad. It's just you've done something and it changed something else. It changes how two characters interacted.
Okay.
Or how their story plays out.
Fair enough. It sounds like a nice game.
Yeah.
Dude, Steam has got to stop opening the like streaming thing.
Right, you're using up my data.
It's done it twice now, and I keep closing it. Stop auto-opening it. I don't care that somebody's playing
it. Insane. Oh, the guy in the Steam profile picture?
Yeah.
That's the guy. That's the random guy. The musician who just comes into town and decides to try to help.
Oh, okay. What a guy.
Yeah, he sings a little song in between certain arcs. That's cool. I was at that point I was getting impatient. I was like, oh no, I need to help everyone. I was like, hurry up and finish your stupid songs. I can keep helping everyone.
Nice. Any lasting thoughts on Closer the Distance?
Definitely give it a play. The name is weird, but I mean, they use the name. I think the name came from just like a line in game because what's her face? Angie, she was a poet. And I don't remember the poem, but the final line was like something, something, the closer the distance. And then she never finished the poem because she couldn't find something to rhyme with the last line.
Deep. Powerful.
Indeed.
Well, that's Closer to the Distance. A quick little review by Wolf, yours truly.
Yeah, give it a play.
Yeah. It was definitely on both of our lists for games we were interested in, so obviously it's worth.
Yeah, Game Awards did not disappoint.
Right.
I also downloaded Manor Lords.
Oh god. I thought you would eventually.
Yeah.
It was inevitable. Oh man. All right, that's Close to the Distance.
Yeah.
Give it a look if you haven't already.
I demand it.
Wolf demands it. You have to now. You don't.
Maybe you'll tell me how you resonate with it emotionally, since I couldn't do that part.
True. All right, we do have a question of the week from Rain, though, to wrap up the episode. Wolf, what is it?
This week's question of the week is, if you could have any accent, what would you want? Which one would you want?
Interesting. What a question. I think I would go with like a heavy Scottish or Irish accent. Because one, it would fit the beard.
Yeah.
Look that I have, and then I could wear a kilt. And that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the other reason is because half the time people like around here, obviously where I live in the US, wouldn't be able to understand me half the time. And then that would just give me an excuse to ignore most people.
That is true. Oh, it's
like
perfect.
I already want to ignore most people, but I don't really have an excuse. But like if they can't understand me, I can just go about my day.
You can just say something and they'll just be awestruck and not have a response.
Exactly. And I could have one of those really weird names. Well, weird for the US name.
Yeah.
Not weird for them, obviously. And that's like mispronounceable by everybody. So that's what I would pick.
All right, I dig it.
What about you?
I'd pick like a Outback Australian accent.
I could see it.
I like the way it sounds.
Yeah, I could totally see that. That does not at all surprise me that you.
Finally, it's also like the same level of not understandable as the Scottish accent, but I would want to talk to people as much as possible, just to hear myself speak.
You just want to hear yourself, exactly.
I do.
It's like mine is to do it to avoid interaction, and yours is just to hear yourself.
Maybe that's Australian.
Once you get that, maybe you just finally like kick into the streaming like full time.
Oh yeah, that'll be my gimmick.
Right, just to hear yourself. You'll be the only Australian streamer, surely.
Oh, absolutely. I'll kill all the other ones.
I meant
in
like
Minecraft.
In Minecraft. I meant like you'd be like the most popular, not that there'd be no more left.
Oh, I see. Glad we worked out that misunderstanding.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Minecraft is a very serious game. All right, just a reminder before we wrap up the rest of the episode. Oh, what would Rain have? Rain would have an English accent because she's basic.
Yeah, I'd believe it.
That's absolutely what she would pick. Or she would just like copy me and go with a Scottish or Irish accent.
She could have the accent that whatever the original like Americans had, like when the ones that came straight from Europe, whatever they started speaking.
Oh, yeah, she
because I hear it's different.
It is different, or was, I guess. But yeah, she can have something like that. All right, just a reminder before we wrap up this week. Next week is our final episode.
That's right.
Episode 150. We're going to have a guest on. I will not reveal who that is. You might be able to guess.
Maybe.
And we're going to be playing Steam, or guess the Steam review again. or whatever the hell
a
I called it.
classic.
One of my favorites. So we don't always give you a heads up about what we're going to be doing, but since it's the last episode, I wanted to remind we wanted to remind everybody, and I think that about does it. Wolf, take it away.
I'm Wolf, taking these away. Thanks for watching episode 149 of You're Ridiculous.
Woo woo!
If you liked all that, hit the like, comment, and subscribe button. Hit the bell so you get notified of the next and final episode. If you're watching on a podcast website, you're ready to hit the plus and give us 5 stars to support the show. You can follow us across the internet, the main cast at ridiculous_cast on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow Lucas at 7angry with an E, and you can follow me at Rainbow Does without the W. We hope to see you guys all again next week, but until then, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.